Nintendo released a first-look trailer for Breath of the Wild sequel yesterday, so I'm here to dig out all the details and tell you what I think. Without further ado, welcome to Fiji Chat. The trailer opens on a shot of these green glowing sparks floating in midair. These remind me personally of the blue sparks that came from ancient materials in the last game. However, now they're green. In the next shot, we see where these sparks come from. At the base of the glowing rune spiral, the sparks are the exact same color. This room has a lot of interesting features. For example, the spikes pointing toward the center of the room, where the Ganon Malice touches the floor. We can see that the goo originates from the ceiling, not the floor itself. 4 of what look like guardian legs meet at the place the malice comes from, and severed guardian legs are all over the hill on which it's situated. Perhaps this stray bit of malice was imprisoned in this green spiral, with a defense set up around it, but is now breaking through it and escaping? In the next shot, we see this cave painting of a warrior on a horse. It's surprisingly hard to make out details, but we can see that he's brandishing a trident, so perhaps the warrior has some sort of relation to the Zoras? He doesn't seem to have any fish properties, however, so I guess we'll have to wait and see exactly what his deal is. Also, this shot seems to link up with a later shot, when Zelda holds a torch up to the wall. She looks surprised here, so I'm guessing whatever she's figured out isn't good news. Also, both Link and Zelda have had some style changes since we last saw them. Zelda cut her hair, and Link's wearing some new clothes. It looks as though he's wearing part of his Hylian tunic over his champion's tunic. Maybe this is hinting at even greater outfit customization in the coming sequel. At the very end, Link's eyes flick toward the camera. Perhaps he's only looking at Zelda, or perhaps he's noticing an enemy that has entered the cave. The next shot doesn't have much, but we do see Malice slowly leaking away from the green spiral. The next clip, however, tells us quite a bit. Link and Zelda are clearly in a massive cavern. Ancient carvings cover the walls. Zelda is riding what seems to be Hyrule's version of an elephant, so maybe we'll be able to ride more than horses in this game. The ground is covered with luminous stones, and they clearly are going to be down here a while. The elephant is packed to the brim, and we can see that it is carrying stacks and stacks of wood, an essential resource down in the caves. A rat scurries toward the camera, the first of 2 times we'll see one in the short trailer, so I find it likely that it's going to appear as a new animal in the game. In the next shot, Zelda and Link arrive at the source of the malice. If you zoom in close, you can see that a skeleton is in the midst of all the malice, and that a blue glowing hand is grasping it. Apparently, the end of the green rune strip consists of a glowing hand, but this is the first shot in which it's clearly visible. The next clip is an overhead shot of an underground stream. Link and Zelda have stopped there to rest for a bit, and Zelda and the elephant are drinking as Link tends to the animal. Once again, the ground is covered in luminous stones, and an old pillar rises out of the water. I couldn't make out much on the pillar, even by zooming in, except for the 3 parallel lines that run its length on either side. After that, we see some malice crawl up a flight of stairs and envelop a rat, presumably killing it. This could be some stairs under Hyrule Castle, but I find it more likely that these are ancient ruins in whatever cave Link and Zelda are exploring. Or perhaps the cave they're exploring is beneath Hyrule Castle. We don't know for sure, although future bits of the trailer may point toward an answer. The next shot, once again, takes place in a cavern filled with luminous stone. The bridge they are crossing has a large crack down the middle, and it looks to me as if Link is trying to pull the animal across the gap. In the next couple of shots, we get some close-ups of the skeleton, along with the blue hand grasping its chest. There are a bunch of strange symbols on its body that I believe are from past Zelda games. I couldn't quite place them, but if you know what they are, let me know down in the comments. Then, in the next couple of seconds, there are a ton of rapid-fire scenes, so try to keep up. In the first, the glowing blue hand latches onto Link's arm. At first, his expression is one of confusion, then it morphs into surprise and fear as the hand drags him away. Next, we see a bunch of malice collide with the hill of guardian legs on the ceiling. Not sure what to make of this, really. Next, we see Zelda reaching up to grab Link's hand. We know the hand on the bottom is Zelda's, as it has gold studs on the knuckles, and a couple of shots ago, we clearly saw Link's gauntlets. No gold studs. Next, we quickly zoom into a dark tunnel. The tunnel is built to look like it's a giant beast, with the head on top here and the hands here. The wall built around it is covered with carvings, and might be related to some of the carvings we saw earlier in the trailer. In the next shot, we see the magical blue hand grab Link as he falls. This might be right before we see it drag him backward into the dark, or it might be a different shot. It's definitely the same one that grabbed the skeleton, though. After that, we see this shadow on the wall. It seems to be based off the hand and skeleton in the lower left corner, and if it is, the hand is reaching toward the skeleton. The thing that seems odd to me is that the hand itself gives off light, so why is its shadow being cast exactly the same as the skeleton's? It doesn't make any sense. Next, we see the floor and ceiling breaking apart. Zelda begins to fall, and a large chunk of rock falls dangerously close to both of them. In the next shot, we see a close-up shot of the skeleton's hand, with Zelda looking at it from behind. Floating through the air are the characteristic red sparks of malice, but most importantly, we see the skeleton's fingers move and wiggle around. It's likely about to get up and attack. In the next shot, Zelda quickly turns around to look at something, and then, the skeleton begins to wake up. It swings its head around and opens its eyes, or rather, eyes appear in its eye sockets. Those are definitely the same Malice eyes that appear so often in Breath of the Wild, confirming that Ganon will be making some sort of reappearance. Also, I thought it was worth mentioning that the skeleton has some sort of glowing light source in its forehead. I believe the Malice in some way possessed this zombie skeleton, but that's just a theory. And of course, the last clip of the trailer gives us a dramatic shot of Hyrule Castle rising out of the ground. Woo! That was a lot of information, but what does it all mean? Well, I'm very sure that most of this is taken from the game's opening cutscene, or at least a cutscene very close to the game's beginning. Zelda likely felt something going on with her magic powers, causing her to investigate it, and then they run into zombie Ganon. One thing that doesn't make a ton of sense, however, is that at the end of Breath of the Wild, Zelda said they were going to head to Varuda because it had stopped working. But this stuff doesn't seem to be happening near the Zora realm. I think it's happening under Hyrule Castle. I believe that the shot of Hyrule Castle rising, Zelda grabbing Link's hand, and the floor collapsing all occur within seconds of each other. It'd make a lot of sense. Hyrule Castle begins rising, causing the floor to fall and break. Link would quickly catch Zelda before she fell to her doom. Another thing I'm sure of is that Zelda will be playable in this game. I don't think it would work for her to just be a companion, following Link around. She's going to be in for real. It would be a great way to introduce multiplayer into the game, using Zelda's and Link's unique skills to solve puzzles together. I think that could create a great dynamic and be a huge addition to Breath of the Wild. One thing's really for certain though, I am hyped for this game. Breath of the Wild is my second most played Switch game, and I can't wait to get back into it through its sequel. It's shaping up to be the Majora's Mask to Breath of the Wild's Ocarina of Time. A bit darker and more spooky, adding a lot more elements, but generally keeping the same structure. Anyway, that's all I've got for today, folks. Until next time, VG Chat, out!